What is going on, everybody? In this video I'm going to review 4 of the best budget processors to use in your next build. Now I'm going to be covering the pros and cons of each budget CPU that I review so that you can get a good understanding of what you might want to use in your system. So let's get started. The first CPU on the list is the Intel Pentium G3258, which comes in at a small price of only $70. This CPU is a dual-core processor clocked at an impressive 3.2 GHz. It has 3 MB of Intel Smart Cache and will fit into any LGA 1150 motherboard. So pretty much the good thing about that is that this processor fits into a very versatile socket. And this socket has a really wide upgrade path. This means that if you did ever want to upgrade to a better CPU, there are many options for you to choose from, such as the Intel i5-4690K, which is a very popular choice among PC gamers and any kind of PC enthusiast. Now, the only problem with the CPU, and this is actually a pretty big one, is that it's only a dual core. Now, the problem with dual core processors in gaming is that some games won't even allow you to have a dual core processor if you're actually using it with that game. One good example of this is Far Cry 4. If you try to open up Far Cry 4 with a dual core processor, it will literally try to restrict you out of it. Now, there are ways of getting around that, but I still think that it's still a problem to have a dual core, especially with gaming. And having at least a quad core, getting those extra 2 cores will really help you out in the long run. The next CPU I'm going to be reviewing is the AMD Athlon X4 860K quad-core processor. Now again, this is a quad-core processor, so you will not have any problems with games requiring you to have a quad-core versus the Pentium G3258, which is a dual-core. The CPU comes in at around only $5 more than the Pentium G3258, which features a quad-core processor, 4 MB of cache, and has the FM2 socket support. Now, surprisingly, even though the Athlon has a quad core and 1 more megabyte of cache than the Pentium, it still actually gets a little bit worse gaming performance. Now, I'm guessing the reason for this is because it actually has a little bit worse single core performance than the Pentium, and that can make a huge difference in gaming, especially with a processor with only 2 cores. This difference is very, very minor, and the performance difference between the two is not even very much noticeable. So really it comes down to preference, whether you like AMD or Intel more. So pick and choose which one you think would be better for you. Now, one more thing about the Athlon is that it fits to the FM2 socket, and the FM2 socket is not as good as the AM3 socket. I guess you could say, and it does not have as good performance in terms of CPUs that you'd be putting into the FM2 socket. And with that, even though the Athlon is a very budget-oriented processor, it's actually the best one that you can currently get for the FM2 Plus socket. And that means that unlike the Pentium, you really have no upgrade path, and you have no upgradability without having to buy a new motherboard. So in that case, again, it's really more preference, but if you do plan on upgrading, then go for a Pentium. But if you're not planning on upgrading any like AMD, then go for the Athlon. The next CPU on this list is the AMD FX 4350. It is an unlocked quad-core processor with a base clock of 4.2 GHz. It has 4 cores and 4 MB of L2 cache and 8 MB of L3 cache. It fits into the socket AM3 Plus, and that means that with this, since it fits into AM3 Plus socket, you actually might have some upgradability with Zen that might be coming out later this year. Because while Zen might be fitting into their new AM4 socket, or otherwise different socket, it is rumored that AMD might also come out with a new processor for the AM3, giving AM3 users the upgradability. This CPU is slightly more expensive than the other ones, coming at a price of $84. But something I can tell you definitely about this processor is that it is wonderful. For a price of only $83, you are getting a great processor that does definitely outperform the Athlon and the Pentium by a long shot. It does not heat up nearly as much as the Athlon, and it has a lot of cache. I can't actually tell you why this has as good performance, or better performance, I mean, than the Athlon or the Pentium, but what I can guess is that it has a lot of, or has a much better CPI. Whereas the Athlon and the Pentium, they have a lower CPI, meaning that they can't really do as much per clock cycle. But since this one, it's very efficient and it actually has a lot of cache too. It has 8 megabytes of L3 cache, which is great. This processor just overall performs very well in gaming, and it's very cheap. And it's no wonder why this is probably the most popular budget gaming processor you can buy. So if you are willing to spend the extra $10, definitely get this processor, the AMD FX 4350. It has overall great performance, and I can guarantee you won't be turned down. And also, a lot of people like it. It's probably the most popular budget gaming processor out there. And the only way to prove that to you is to see it for yourself. Definitely get this processor if you're in the budget range of around $80 for processor. So the last processor on this list is the AMD FX 6300. I would say perhaps this is probably the best processor for the money. It's a hexa-core processor, and it is unlocked, so you can overclock it to whatever you want, to your heart's will. And really, the CPU, it costs around $90 as of right now. I'm sure it'll probably go down. And like I said, this is a hexa-core processor, so you are getting 6 cores. Now, even though games do not use more than 4 cores, those 6 cores are definitely great for any kind of multitasking. So if you're just doing strictly gaming, then go for the 4350. Because really the only difference between the 4350 and the 6300 is the cores and the threads, and games don't even use more than 4 cores, like I said. So if you really want those extra cores and you really want that good multitasking with good game performance for a really low price, then go for the FX 6300. Well, I think that wraps it up for our top 4 budget gaming processors. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.